What's up, J-Fusion fans? This is Philip and welcome back to another video. Now, it's been quite a busy week for me, so I haven't been posting in about a week or so. So anyways, hi, welcome to another video, and today let's talk about Kamen Rider Black Sun once again. Now, I'm talking about this upcoming, apparently I thought it was a movie before, to be completely honest, but it turns out this new or this reimagining of Kamen Rider Black is coming out on Amazon Prime, as with the Kamen Rider Amazons before. So I guess this is going to be kind of a mini series. So I'm probably thinking that if this is gonna go as well, like the same way as Amazon, so we could be seeing like 12, 13 episode seasons. So maybe there could be at least two of them. So probably a total of 24, 26 episodes, depending on how long it's going to run. But nonetheless, I really think it's going to be a mini series. So, anyways, let's talk about the Kamen Rider Black Sun based on, you know, updated information. So, if you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to post a link down in the description so you guys can see the extended version of the trailer, because that version is what I'm basing this video on. And even in that minute video, or that nearly 1 minute trailer of the upcoming uh, show, I guess, so there's already a lot of information that we can glean from that short video. And we could also uh, have some interesting thoughts and ideas of on how Kamen Rider Black Sun will turn out once it comes out in autumn 2022. So, anyways, let's get started. Now, the very first thing that I've noticed is in the trailer, actually, even in the earlier version of the trailer, so we already see that uh, Shadow Moon, or actually Kamen Rider Shadow Moon, yes, in this version, Shadow Moon is officially called a Kamen Rider, although the original Shadow Moon is still in that bit of a gray area. He never really was called a Kamen Rider, but for all intents and purposes, the Black Sun version is a Kamen Rider nonetheless. And uh, the very first thing that we notice is that he has a transformation pose. So, in the original Kamen Rider Black, Shadow Moon never actually transforms. Or even in like I remember Kamen Rider Decade had a version of Shadow Moon. I believe it was in the Kamen Rider Decade the movie. So uh their Nobuhiko Tsukikage, or well, their version of Shadow Moon does transform, but he doesn't really transform in the way like a Kamen Rider should. However, in Black Sun, so this version of Nobuhiko Akizuki is going to be appearing a lot in his human form, which is interesting considering that, again, for basically uh, all his appearances in the original Kamen Rider Black, and actually even into Kamen Rider Black RX. So Nobuhiko never actually does transform the way Kotaro did, so he just, naturally evolved into Shadow Moon from his cocoon, which is why we never see him have like an actual henshin pose. But this Black Sun version, from what I can tell, his henshin pose is basically a mirrored version of Black Sun, or at least this version of Kamen Rider Black. So let's say Kamen Rider Black goes like this, henshin, right? So this pose so is a mirrored version of Kamen Rider Black. So this is how Kamen Rider Shadow Moon starts. So Hen Henshin. So actually, their shouts or their the way they say Henshin also are distinct from each other. So this version of Kamen Rider Black is very similar to the original. So like a prolonged, Henshin. And then Shadow Moon or Kamen Rider Shadow Moon just says Henshin. So it's cool, and it's unique to that show's version of Shadow Moon, which again we really never had for the original. And in the extended trailer, we see Kamen Rider Black wielding a sword that is, well, for now, what we can say is their iteration of the Satan Saber, or the Satan Saber, if you really wanted to go Western with it. So, apparently, the sword is in Black's possession this time. Although, I guess from the original Kamen Rider Black, so the sword is meant for both of them to use. It just so happened that it was in Shadow Moon's possession for most of the time, only used by Black during the final episode of the show. Actually, that was the only time he used the sword. But maybe for this version, the Black Sun version, so Kamen Rider Black is the one who has the Satan Saber in his hand. Now, uh, another interesting part of this new series is that the promotional poster actually has this tagline: "What is evil? Who is evil?" Now, we can see in the beginning of the trailers that uh, there's been some demonstrations, or there are protests against kaijin, and I guess well, we don't really know what kind of involvement Gorgum is going to have here, if they do exist at all in this version of Kamen Rider Black. But it's obvious that people hate them, or at least the monsters, right? So kill the monsters, like one sign says, actually. And we are going to see, a battle between Black and Shadow Moon, which I guess is kind of a given, considering how the original Kamen Rider Black went. However, because Nobuhiko in this version, right, is shown to be more human, so he still has somewhat control of his, emotions, his free will, but his views may have changed. So, uh, like he and Kotaro may have had like different ideas on, the kaijin and what they are and how they should be dealt with. So, again, these uh, differences, whatever they are, if whatever they are, would probably lead to a battle between the two riders. And going back to the tagline of this mini series, assuming that this is going to be a mini series, we are not really sure which one of them is going to be the main hero, to be completely honest. At this point, the show is still not out, so there's still like a big possibility of a switcheroo. If you're like me and you grew up watching Kamen Rider Black, so you're going to immediately think of Kamen Rider Black as the hero. But again, this is a different take on the story. While we see the promotion, of course, being very much focused on Kamen Rider Black, at the end of the series, probably we we could eventually see that he's the main villain all along, right? What is evil? Who is evil? At this point, because it hasn't even started yet, we don't really know, or we don't know at all, actually. But again, that possibility of turning Kamen Rider Black into a villain is still out there. I know it's going to be like very crazy for some of you, especially for diehard Kamen Rider Black fans. Well, you know, again, I grew up watching Kamen Rider Black too, but for me, this is a possibility that Toei can play around with, given that a lot of things are going to be different in this new version. So, uh, is it going to be really like that, or are we going to have a somewhat more faithful, adaptation? Like, we really can't say anything at this point, but at least for me, all I can do is wait and see. Really, that's what we all can do for now. Wait and see what happens, and you know, it all falls down to execution. You know, let's say even if this theory of Black being the villain in this new version, right, actually does happen. So how is it going to play out? Is it going to be, you know, properly executed? Because for me, as long as it is properly executed, right? So an unlikely idea still becomes convincing, or like more interesting that we than we would expect or hope. So at least for me, I'm going to keep really my expectations low, if any, or rather, it's I think a good idea to have no expectations for now. But for me, I just have a few ideas on the show and how it's going to go along the way. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Kamen Rider Black Sun for now. So, let me know what you guys think. So, please leave them down in the comments. So, again, there's going to be a link in the description for the extended trailer of Kamen Rider Black Sun for those who haven't seen it. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. And as always, please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!